Live from New Delhi, you're watching the India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. PM Modi to chair 5th National Conference of Chief Secretaries in New Delhi. Focus on education, skilling, sports and extracurricular development. US President Donald Trump accuses Democrats of pushing hoax over Epstein files. Claims Justice Department distracted from investigating election fraud. Thailand and Cambodia agree to immediate ceasefire with effect from 1200 hours local time. And in cricket, India women clinch third T20I against Sri Lanka by 8 wickets, take unassailable 3-0 lead in 5-match series. Alright, news just coming in. Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to an immediate ceasefire. The two countries said in a joint statement pledging to end weeks of deadly border clashes. The statement from the country's Special General Border Committee issued by the Cambodian side said that both sides agree to an immediate ceasefire after the time of signature of this joint statement with effect from 1200 hours noon on 27th December. It will involve all types of weapons, including attacks on civilians, civilian objects and infrastructures, and military objectives of either side in all cases and all areas. The statement added the announcement comes amid peace talks held between the two neighbors after border tensions reignited earlier in December. So significant diplomatic development coming in from Southeast Asia. Big relief for the region. Thailand and Cambodia, they have agreed to an immediate ceasefire. The two countries, they have in fact said in a joint statement, they have pledged to end weeks of deadly border clashes. And the ceasefire takes effect from 1200 hours local time, which is 12 noon, raising hopes of de-escalation. All right, we'll keep giving you updates on that, but moving on to our next story, updates on Ukraine-Russia conflict. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Friday that he planned to meet US President Donald Trump in Florida on Sunday. Zelensky said the meeting is aimed at resolving the Russia-Ukraine conflict after he revealed that a 20-point peace plan is 90% ready. He also added that Europe should be involved in upcoming talks and suggested online participation.
We have a broad agenda. It will be ready by the weekend, and I think that on Sunday we will have a meeting with President Trump in Florida. We will discuss these documents, as I said, security guarantees. There are several documents in this block, and it would be desirable to find an opportunity to discuss them all. Next is the economic agreement, which is still in the early stages, although there will be several agreements, and here we need to discuss the direction.
Ahead of Zelensky's weekend meeting with Trump, Russia has accused Ukraine and its European allies of trying to torpedo talks on a US plan to end its military offensive. Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov on Friday said that a text presented by Kiev this week was radically different to one Moscow negotiated with Washington. He further said that our ability to make the final push and reach an agreement will depend on our own work and the political will of the other party. Zelensky, meanwhile, said he held telephone talks on Friday with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz and a host of other European leaders and discussed preparations for the Sunday meeting and progress in talks. The EU leaders reiterated their unshakable commitment for a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney spoke with Ukrainian President Zelensky on Friday and discussed the latest developments in ongoing peace talks aimed at ending Russia's conflict in Ukraine. Carney's office said in a statement that the Prime Minister affirmed Canada's commitment to Ukraine throughout these negotiations and emphasized the need to maintain pressure on Russia to negotiate. All right, DD India's Akhilesh Suman has been tracking this story. He is joining us live from New Delhi. Hi Akhilesh, all eyes now on the weekend meeting between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky. What are the key expectations from this interaction?
Abhishek, there are too many talks are going on, and Zelensky puts one condition after another condition, and then talks go to another talk. In between, the Witkoff and Jared Kushner had talked to Moscow also, and he has talked to Ukrainian leader Zelensky also. And in that way, you think tomorrow may be the key meeting. However, before the key meeting, President Donald Trump has said that everything will depend on whatever I approve. So I think he is anticipating that Zelensky will put some more conditions before the talks, and then it will be up to Donald Trump that whether he approves these conditions. Because that Trump and Putin are also in direct touch in a regular way, and they understand each other much better than they understood. I can say that Moscow and Washington DC understood 5-7 years earlier. So I think Putin has some faith in Donald Trump, but for Zelensky, there are too many stakeholders. European Union in there, and Canada is there. There are so many Western countries, and everyone wants to do the way they want. And that is, I think, jeopardizing the talks between Russia and Ukraine also, because finally Russia and Ukraine have to come on the table and finalize the deal. So I think it will be very interesting to see that what will be Mr. Trump's reaction on this plan, because Zelensky is telling that 90% agreement is over. So I think 10% are very crucial. And those 10%, whether it is approved by Trump, and if Trump approves it, whether it will be approved by Putin. So I think this will be taking, some more time before we come to any conclusion that whether the talks are going into positive direction or not. Because this whole security guarantee issue that Zelensky is telling, it is again trying to involve NATO in one form or another. And that will not be acceptable to Russia, that NATO or any Western country come to the risk of Ukraine present on the soil of Ukraine for so-called security guarantee. I think that is the biggest, hurdle between Russia and US also, that who will give the security guarantee. So it will depend on talks between Putin and Trump finally, that what they agree on the security guarantee is true. It is going to be the million-dollar question tomorrow when Trump and Zelensky meet, and what they decide on this crucial issue of security guarantee.
Right, absolutely. And Zelensky has spoken with several European leaders also ahead of this meeting, and he has suggested online participation also. But yes, tomorrow, Sunday, will be crucial as far as the meeting between Trump and Zelensky is concerned. All right, Akhilesh, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. US President Donald Trump on Friday accused Democrats of driving what he called a hoax over newly discovered files related to convicted Jeffrey Epstein. He also claimed that the Justice Department was being distracted from investigating election fraud. In a post on social media, Trump said 1 million more pages of Epstein-related material had been found and urged authorities to release names linked to the case, claiming that Democrats, not Republicans, had ties to Epstein. The comments follow Trump's Christmas Day post, in which he wished a Merry Christmas to people who loved Jeffrey Epstein. He also said Democrats would have a lot of explaining to do as more documents are made public under a new law passed by Congress. Now, Nigeria signals that more joint strikes against jihadist groups are likely following a Christmas Day operation in the United States. Nigerian authorities say they provided intelligence support, while the US military confirms multiple Islamic State-linked fighters were killed in northwest Nigeria. Officials in Nigeria emphasized that the operation is a joint effort and not directed against any religion. Foreign Minister Yusuf Taga said coordination with Washington is ongoing and further action remains possible. Nigeria continues to face overlapping security threats from jihadist insurgents in northeast and armed gangs in the northwest. However, the questions persist over the exact group targeted, with differing accounts from Nigerian and US officials. Now in Paris, French police have arrested a man suspected of stabbing 3 women on the metro as the city's end-of-year festivities were underway. Prosecutors say the attacks occurred on Friday along Line 3 of the Paris metro, which runs through central part of the capital. The 3 women were stabbed at separate locations, including the Republic, Arts et Métiers and Opera stations between 4:15 and 4:45 p.m. local time. Paris police said 2 of the victims were treated by emergency services and taken to hospital, though neither was in critical condition, while a 3rd woman later sought treatment on her own. Investigators used surveillance camera footage and mobile phone tracking to locate the 25-year-old suspect, who was arrested later in the afternoon in Val-d'Oie region north of Paris. Police said additional security teams were deployed on the metro line following the attacks. At least 8 people are killed and 18 others wounded in an explosion at a mosque in Syria's central city of Homs. The blast hits the Imam Ali bin Abi Talib Mosque during Friday prayers in a predominantly Alawite area. An extremist group, Saraya Ansar al-Sunnah, claims responsibility, saying its fighters detonated multiple explosive devices inside the mosque. Syria's Interior Ministry describes the incident as a terrorist attack and says investigations are underway to identify and arrest those responsible. Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Turkey and Jordan strongly condemn the attack. France calls it an act of terrorism aimed at destabilizing Syria, while UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemns the unacceptable attack and demands justice for the victims. Now, Brazil Supreme Court Justice Alexander de Moraes on Friday ordered the preventive detention of the former head of the country's Federal Highway Police, Silvio Vasquez, the Brazilian former police chief who fled the country after he was convicted as an accomplice in the attempted coup trial of far-right ex-President Jair Bolsonaro, has been arrested in Paraguay. Vasquez was arrested in 2023 and placed under supervision with an electronic ankle bracelet pending trial. The ex-Brazil Highway Police Chief was caught while trying to board a plane at Asuncion Airport in neighboring Paraguay in an attempt to reach El Salvador after breaking a court-ordered ankle monitor. Vasquez was recently sentenced to 24 years and 6 months in prison for his role in a 2023 attempted coup, the same incident for which Bolsonaro is now serving a 27-year sentence for orchestrating the plot. Now, a group of Venezuelans who were sent to El Salvador prison from the US and then returned to Venezuela called on Friday for the United States to comply with a ruling that would allow them to challenge their deportation in US courts. US Judge James Boasberg ruled this week that President Donald Trump's administration must urgently arrange for the return of the hundreds of Venezuelans who were deported to El Salvador, saying their expulsion violated their due process rights and that they have the right to challenge their deportation in court. Under the ruling, the Trump administration must present a plan to allow their return within 2 weeks. Representatives of the detained Venezuelans said they wanted a chance to clear their names.
We call on both the United States government and the government of El Salvador to fully comply with the court order. We demand that the authorities of that country truly create conditions that allow us to take part in the hearing without once again putting our integrity and our lives at risk.
Now, Venezuelans were sent to El Salvador from the US in March after Trump invoked the 1798 Alien Enemy Act, a little-used wartime law to deport people classified as members of the Tren de Aragua gang without carrying out hearings or usual migration procedures. The deportations drew strong criticism from human rights groups and spawned a legal battle with the Trump administration. Alright, still to come on this edition of DD India Newshour. Bangladesh lynching sparked nationwide protests as India condemns attacks on Hindus. Malaysia ex-PM Najib Razak jailed for 15 more years in 1MDB saga's biggest trial. Najib to appeal ruling calls for Malaysians to be calm and rational. And one of the world's rarest felines sighted on Malaysia's Borneo Island.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar.
अरे it fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Tensions are rising as attacks on Hindus in Bangladesh sparked outrage in Bangladesh and India. From Dhaka to Delhi, Kolkata to Guwahati, huge protests are erupting demanding justice and protection for minorities. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay brings us more.
In Bangladesh's capital Dhaka, Hindu groups staged a large-scale protest outside the press club. Demonstrators formed a human chain demanding justice for Hindu men lynched in recent mob violence and demanded capital punishment for the attackers. The protest reflects rising insecurity among Hindus and other communities in the wake of brutal lynching of Dipu Chandra Das and the subsequent killing of 29-year-old Amrit Mondol in Rajbari district, who was attacked and killed by locals on Wednesday. The anger has spilled across India as well, sparking protests in every region. In the north, Hindu organizations gathered in Jammu's Arispura to denounce the violence in Bangladesh. The northeast witnessed the Bengali United Forum rallying outside the Bangladesh High Commission in Guwahati. In the east, Kolkata saw a massive demonstration by Hindu Sanhati, joined by BJP leader Shuvendu Adhikari, marching to the office of the Bangladesh Deputy High Commissioner. Odisha's Puri also witnessed a large rally near the Jagannath temple. Meanwhile, in the west, protesters filled the streets of Surat, while in Bihar's Patna, BJP workers burnt effigies at Kargil Chowk. From north to northeast and from east to west, these demonstrations reflect a nationwide wave of solidarity with Bangladesh's Hindu minority. Meanwhile, India on Friday strongly condemned the recent incidents of lynching of 2 Hindu men in Bangladesh, with the Ministry of External Affairs expressing deep concern over what is described as unremitting hostility against minorities in the neighboring country.
The unremitting hostility against minorities in Bangladesh, including Hindus, Christians, and Buddhists, at the hands of extremists, is a matter of grave concern. We condemn the recent gruesome killing of a Hindu youth in Mymensingh Singh and expect that the perpetrators of the crime would be brought to justice.
MEA spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal also said India has consistently raised concerns over the attacks on minorities and rejected what is called a false narrative being pushed by Bangladesh's interim government on such incidents.
We have rejected the false narrative that has been projected in Bangladesh. You would understand that law and order or security situation or the developments that are happening in Bangladesh is the responsibility of the government of Bangladesh, and to portray a narrative where things go in some other direction is completely false, and we reject that.
Earlier on the occasion of Christmas, Bangladesh's former PM and Awami League leader Sheikh Hasina lashed out at the Muhammad Yunus-led interim government in her country and accused it of perpetrating unspeakable atrocities against non-Muslims. With anger rising over a series of brutal attacks on Hindus, Dhaka's interim government now faces intense scrutiny over its treatment of minority rights. The pressing question is whether justice will be served and if Bangladesh's minorities can hope for safety in the days to come. With Rahul Upadhyay, Amit Mukherjee for DD India.
Meanwhile, leaders and activists of Inqilab Manch on Friday blocked the Shahbag intersection in Dhaka, demanding justice for the killing of Sharif Osman bin Hadi. The protest began after Jummah prayers continued into the afternoon, with people from different sections of society joining the blockade. Demonstrators chanted slogans calling for accountability and warned that their movement would continue until those responsible for the killing are brought to justice. Similar protests were also held in Chattogram a day earlier, where speakers criticized the authorities for failing to arrest the prime suspects weeks after the killing and reiterated demands for swift justice. A concert by popular Bangladeshi rock icon James, also known as Nagar Ball, was cancelled on Friday night after clashes broke out at Faridpur Zilla School during its 185th anniversary celebrations. At least 25 people were injured in the incident. The concert, scheduled as the closing event of two-day program, was called off after a group of outsiders allegedly attempted to force entry into the venue, hurling bricks and stones. Students resisted the attackers and several others were injured. Following directives from the district administration due to volatile situation, organizers announced the cancellation. Faridpur Zilla School, established in 1840, is one of the oldest government schools in the region. All right, Naval Sangh Parmar, DD India correspondent, is joining us on the phone line from Dhaka. Naval Sangh, we are seeing sustained protests in Dhaka following recent incidents of violence. Can you describe the scale and nature of demonstrations near the Press Club and also Shahbag?
Well, yesterday there was a protest in Shahbag area of Dhaka as well as in Chattogram regarding from the Inqilab Manch, and they are demanding the arrest of killers of Osman Hadi. Apart from that, the people from civil society and they are also raised their voice against the violence in Bangladesh. It is the violence on the minority as well as violence on the media field, and now the violence on the cultural institution. Some days back there was an attack on the Sayanat. It is one of the popular and the most prominent cultural organization in Bangladesh, and then UDC. Yesterday night there was another attack on a cultural institution, and that is the Nagar Baul, rock band Nagar Baul, which is the James. He is the prominent face of the Nagar Baul. Nagar Baul is a band, and James is its leading icon. James, also known as a Farooq Mahfuz Anam, and he is very, very popular in Bangladesh as well as in West Bengal, and he is having a huge connection with the Bollywood. In the movie Rockstar and the Life in Metro, he performed as a playback singer like Biggie Biggie and the Chalo Chale Alvida. These are the songs which are sung by the James Urf Farooq Mahfuz Anu. And yesterday there was an attack on its venue, concert venue in Faridpur. It is a 185-year-old school where coincidentally it was a Christmas celebration as well as the Foundation Day celebration in Faridpur, and the concert was of Nagar Baul. Nagar Baul is like we have in northern India the Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb. Here Nagar Baul is known for its Ganga Jamuni Hindu-Muslim religious unities related its performance. Here in Bangladesh, there was a saint known as Lalon Fakir. He was a Sufi saint, and he is very popular in Bengal, not in Bangladesh, but in West Bengal also. And every Bengali who is having a link with the Bangla culture, they knows Lalon Fakir. He is a Kabir of Bengal. And the Nagar Baul is the band who used rock music to popularize the message of Lalon Fakir. And there was an attack on the Nagar Baul festival, Nagar Baul concert by the Tohidi Janta. It is said that the outsider tried to enter forcefully in the venue, but it was not like the case. It was the case to intimidate the people and to cancel the concert. It was attack on culture, Ganga Jamni culture of Bengal. It was attack on Ganga Jamni culture of Bengal.
All right, Nawal Sang, thank you for the time being, but yes, we'll keep taking updates from you. Moving on, former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak has been sentenced to 15 more years in jail on Friday after being convicted of abuse of power and money laundering in a sovereign wealth fund graft scandal. The court convicted him on 4 charges of abuse of power and 21 charges of money laundering. Najib was also fined $2.8 billion for his role in the plunder of billions from the now defunct One Malaysia Development Berhad more than a decade ago. The former Malaysian PM was found guilty of illegally transferring about $543 million USD from the state investment fund One Malaysia Development Berhad into his personal bank accounts. Meanwhile, Najib's lawyer Muhammad Shafi Abdullah said he would appeal the ruling on Monday. Najib is already serving a 6-year term after being convicted in a separate 1MDB case. As per the ruling, Najib's latest jail term would begin only after that sentence was completed. Now, Myanmar heads to the polls on Sunday as it battles with a raging civil war and a severe humanitarian crisis. Campaigning ahead of the vote remains subdued, with residents saying the election lacks the energy of previous polls. The military junta maintains the vote has popular support, while critics describe it as an attempt to entrench military rule. The country has been in nationwide conflict since the army ousted the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi in 2021 coup. The United Nations, Western governments and human rights groups strongly criticized the election as undemocratic. Voting is being held in phases starting Sunday, followed by rounds on January 11 and January 25. Polling covers 265 of Myanmar's 330 townships, with dates for counting and results yet to be announced. Only 6 parties are contesting nationally, as many others are disbanded and anti-junta groups boycott the vote. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. Elephants in Nepal on Friday took part in a penalty shootout competition during the annual Elephant Festival of Himalayan nation in the tourist town of Sauraha. The elephants marched along the streets from the Chitwan National Park gate to the festival venue, where they participated in the penalty shootout competition, drawing hundreds of spectators. The Sabah Wildlife and Forestry Department has released rare images of the elusive flat-headed cat captured in the Tangkola Forest Reserve on Borneo during February and August 2024. Considered one of the world's rarest and most threatened wild felines, the sightings highlighted both the species' fragile existence and the importance of ongoing conservation efforts in Malaysia's forest. Time now for another short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Newshour. The high-level committee probing the Indigo fiasco has submitted its confidential report to aviation authorities. Red alerts for very dense fog in multiple districts of North India will get you weather updates from across the country. And India observes Guru Gobind Singh Jayanti today. Devotees across the country mark the birth anniversary of the 10th Sikh Guru with prayers, processions and community service. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Abhishek Mahaj and some more stories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will chair the 5th National Conference of Chief Secretaries in New Delhi on Saturday and Sunday. The conference marks another important milestone in strengthening centre-state partnership through structured and sustained dialogue on national development priorities. Conference serves as the forum where centre and states collaborate, designing a unified roadmap to maximize India's human capital potential and accelerate inclusive, future-ready growth. It will be devoted to intensive deliberations aimed at finalizing a common development agenda. The central theme underscores a shift in policy thinking from viewing India's population merely as a demographic dividend to developing citizens as human capital. The discussions will focus on creating systems that nurture skills, productivity, focus on innovation and employability to support India's aspiration of becoming a developed nation. Conference is based on extensive deliberations between central ministries, departments, Niti Aayog, states, UTs and domain experts. It will focus on theme Human Capital for Viksit Bharat, covering best practices and strategies for states, UTs to follow. Conference will also include 6 special sessions on major governance and policy themes. Chief Secretaries, senior officials of all states, union territories, domain experts among others will be present at the conference. Moving on, the India-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement is set to generate more jobs, higher incomes and expanded trade, according to New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon. In a post on social media platform X, Luxon calls the pact a landmark achievement that opens access to 1.4 billion Indian consumers. India and New Zealand conclude the comprehensive free trade agreement on December 22nd, marking a key economic milestone in Indo-Pacific region. The deal is among India's fastest concluded FTAs in alliance with the Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. It offers duty-free access for all Indian exports while strengthening trade, investment and MSME participation. The agreement also creates new skilled employment pathways, including a temporary visa route for Indian professionals. The high-level committee probing the Indigo fiasco has submitted its confidential report to aviation authorities, led by Joint Director General Sanjay K. Brahmane. The 8-member panel has concluded its probe into the recent incident. While the findings are not public, this report is the key next step. It will determine the official narrative on what went wrong and who was responsible for planning failures. Now, the Defence Acquisition Council has cleared a proposal extending emergency procurement powers for the armed forces till January 15 after the earlier deadline of November 19. The power is granted following Operation Sindoor to bolster readiness for future conflicts, allow faster contract signings. The Council is expected to meet again on Monday to consider major proposals aimed at strengthening military capabilities, including a wide range of indigenous missile and rocket programs. The Indian Railways plans to double train capacity in major cities by 2030 to meet growing travel demand. The Railway Ministry says 48 cities including Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bengaluru, Patna, Bhopal and Puri will see originating train capacity increased over the coming years. Railway Board Chairman Satish Kumar has directed all zonal railways to enhance train handling capacity and identify new terminals in and around urban areas. The expansion will cover both suburban and non-suburban traffic, taking into account the distinct needs of each segment. In view of surge in pilgrims during the year-end holiday season, the Kashi Vishwanath Temple administration in Uttar Pradesh has temporarily suspended protocol darshan, which let devotees skip queues, and sparsh darshan, which allowed them to touch the deity. The decision to suspend both the protocol and the sparsh darshan has been necessitated for better crowd management and will continue till January 2nd.
In view of a surge in pilgrims during the year-end holiday season, the Sri Kashi Vishwanath Temple administration has temporarily suspended protocol darshan, which let devotees skip queues, and sparsh darshan, which allowed them to touch the deity. The suspension of the two features will continue till January 2nd. According to the temple administration, every year during this time of the year, more than 5 lakh devotees visit the temple complex to offer prayers and seek blessings. The decision to suspend both the protocol and the Sparsh Darshan has been necessitated for better crowd management.
श्रद्धालुओं की संख्या चूंकि वर्षांत में और वर्ष के प्रारंभ में बढ़ ही जाती है, तो एक जो स्टैंडर्ड एसओपी हम लोगों ने बनाया हुआ है, जिसके अंतर्गत भीड़ बढ़ने पर किसी भी प्रकार का विशेष दर्शन रिक्वेस्ट जो होती है उसको नहीं स्वीकार किया जाता है। स्पर्श दर्शन बंद किए जाते हैं, बैरिकेडिंग एंड टू एंड लगाई जाती है। तो एंड टू एंड बैरिकेडिंग 23 दिसंबर से ही लगा दी गई है और ये सारी व्यवस्थाएं इसमें सुनिश्चित करते हुए श्रद्धालुओं का सुरक्षापूर्वक दर्शन हो सके, इसलिए प्रारंभ की गई हैं।
Devotees visiting the temple have welcomed the decision and appreciated the arrangements made by the administration.
भीड़ बहुत ज़्यादा है, इस वजह से बंद कर दिया गया है, बट हम नॉर्मल लाइन में भी लगे थे, थोड़ा टाइम लगा, बट यहाँ पे जैसे व्यवस्था है, सुविधा है, सब बहुत अच्छी, तो हमारे दर्शन बहुत अच्छे से हो गए।
कहेंगे तो ये है कि भीड़ बहुत ज़्यादा है, उसको नज़रिया रखते हुए कि ये सब बंद किया गया है, तो एक तरह से सही भी है। और दूसरा ये है कि जो नॉर्मल दर्शन जो है उसके अंदर अरेंजमेंट बहुत सही है, मतलब पुलिस भी सहायक है और फ्री फ्लो है भीड़ का, तो ज़्यादा इकट्ठा नहीं हो रहा है।
The temple administration has appealed to pilgrims to cooperate with authorities and follow the guidelines to ensure a smooth, safe and peaceful darshan. Officials say they will revisit this decision to suspend protocol and Sparsh Darshan on January 3rd.
India is celebrating Guru Gobind Jayanti, commemorating the birth anniversary of the 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Guru Gobind Singh, born in Patna Sahib, Bihar in 1666, is one of Sikhism's most revered spiritual leaders. He founded the Khalsa Panth in 1699, formalized the Sikh code of conduct and emphasized courage, equality and justice. In Bihar, special kirtan was held at Takhat Sri Harimandir Ji, Patna Sahib, as devotees gathered to offer prayers and listen to hymns from the Guru Granth Sahib. The Gurdwara was adorned for the occasion with worshippers participating in devotional singing and remembering the teachings of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, which emphasized courage, equality and selfless service. And on the occasion of Guru Gobind Singh Jayanti, honouring the birth anniversary of the 10th and last human Sikh Guru, President of India Draupadi Murmu greeted the nation. Taking to social media platform X, the President wrote, and I quote her here, "Warm greetings to all on the sacred occasion of Prakash Parv of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji. With indomitable courage and rare sagacity, he inspired people to live righteously, uniting his followers into a force that bravely faced mightier adversaries, driven by the zeal to uphold justice and self-respect. He is a symbol of grace in adversity and sacrifice for ideals. May his teachings of unity, compassion and respect for all continue to guide humanity." Prime Minister Modi also took to X on the occasion. The Prime Minister wrote, and I quote him here, "On the sacred Prakash Utsav of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji, we bow in reverence to him. He remains an embodiment of courage, compassion and sacrifice. His life and teachings inspire us to uphold truth, justice and human dignity. Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji's vision continues to guide generations towards service and selfless duty." Prime Minister Modi also shared pictures from his visit earlier this year to Takhat Sri Harimandir Ji, Patna Sahib, where he had darshan of the holy Jod Sahib of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji and Mata Sahib Kaur Ji. And the birth anniversary of the 10th Sikh Guru is being marked across the country with prayers and community service.
Each year, millions honor Guru Gobind Singh Ji, a spiritual luminary warrior and founder of the Khalsa, whose teachings on courage and equality continue to inspire generations. Gurudwaras witness special prayer gatherings as devotees pay homage to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, remembering his teachings of courage, equality and sacrifice. Nagar Kirtan are taken out in several cities, while Langar Seva is also organized, reflecting the Sikh tradition of selfless service and collective harmony. At prominent Sikh shrines, including Anandpur Sahib, large number of devotees participate in religious programs throughout the day. Guru Gobind Singh Ji continues to remind the nation of values rooted in faith, service and unity. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
In the quiet lanes of Balimar in Old Delhi stands Ghalib Ki Haveli, the final home of Mirza Ghalib, Urdu poetry's immortal voice. On his 228th birth anniversary today, we celebrate the legendary poet whose timeless works continue to inspire millions. More in this special report by DD India's Antara Sinha.
This is Gully Qasim Jan in Old Delhi's Ballimaran. And this is the mansion where Mirza Ghalib, the legendary Urdu poet, stayed for the last years of his life. As he said, "Ye duniya jism hai aur Dilli uski jaan." That is, the world is the body and Delhi is its soul.
The simple verses written on these walls are as relevant today as they were during Ghalib's time. Works by various musicians and celebrated Hindi cinema lyricists, including Gulzar, have been greatly inspired by Ghalib. Legendary ghazal maestro late Jagjit Singh formed a memorable partnership with Gulzar to make one of the most iconic TV series on the late poet. Mirza Ghalib aired on Doordarshan National in 1988 and it was an instant hit with the audiences. Scores of literature enthusiasts continue to visit the Ghalib Ki Haveli in the heart of Old Delhi. This 19th century Haveli was gifted to Ghalib by a physician named Hakim and served as the poet's home from 1860 until his death in 1869. A renovated portion of this Haveli is now a museum showcasing Ghalib's life and works. The museum features various artifacts including handwritten poems, books and personal belongings of the poet. Hailing from Agra, Ghalib belonged to a family of nobles and was educated in Persian, Arabic and Urdu. This year, the 27th of December marks his 228th birth anniversary. Ghalib's poetry is considered some of the most iconic and influential in Urdu literature. His poetry explored themes of love, spirituality, social issues and the human condition. Mirza Ghalib's life, works and legacy continue to fascinate and inspire people around the world.
हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश पे दम निकले, बहुत निकले मेरे अरमा, लेकिन फिर भी कम निकले. Urdu enthusiasts and Urdu literature enthusiasts must be familiar with these lines by Ghalib. These mean thousands of desires of mine, each worth dying for. Many of them I have realized, yet I yearn for more. With camera person Kumara Datta, this is Antara Sinha for DD India.
Let's now take a look at the weather stories from across India and the world. The India Met Department issued red and orange alerts for several districts in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar due to fog. Red alerts warned of very dense fog with visibility below 50 meters in districts including Ayodhya, Prayagraj, Raebareli, Kanpur, Varanasi and Bareilly. Orange alerts were issued for dense fog with visibility between 50 and 200 meters in other districts of Uttar Pradesh such as Lucknow, Gorakhpur and Muzaffarnagar, as well as in Bihar including Patna, Muzaffarpur, Champaran and Vaishali. The IMD advised caution for residents and commuters as visibility remained severely reduced across the region. In the United States, torrential Christmas storms have triggered flash flood and debris flow warnings across Southern California. Fueled by the Pineapple Express atmospheric river, the system is bringing heavy rain from Hawaii with the National Weather Service warning of excessive rainfall in areas including Los Angeles. Forecasters say flooding and debris flows are possible, especially in wildfire-scarred areas with rain and strong winds expected through Friday. State authorities have declared a state of emergency in several counties, urging residents to avoid dangerous roads and waterways. New York braces for winter storm Devin with up to 10 inches of snow expected and hazardous travel from the Great Lakes to the northeast. Governor Kathy Hochul declared a state of emergency as airlines cancelled nearly 1,500 flights and thousands more face delays. Temperatures will drop with an Arctic blast while California begins to recover from heavy rain and flooding that closed airports. Meanwhile, Latin America's largest city, Sao Paulo, broke its December heat record for the second day in a row on Friday, reaching 36.2 degrees Celsius. This surpassed Thursday's 35.9 degrees Celsius, which had already tied the previous annual December record. According to Brazil's National Meteorological Authority, INMET, Friday's temperature is the highest recorded in the city for December since 1961, underscoring the intensity of the ongoing heat wave. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Argentina's Congress officially passes 2026 budget, the first since President Javier Milei assumed office in late 2023. In English Premier League, in-form Aston Villa set to face struggling Chelsea. And 2026 countdown numerals go up in Times Square. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Argentina's Congress on Friday officially passed the 2026 budget, the first since President Javier Milei assumed office in late 2023. The budget was passed by 46 votes in favor, 25 votes against and 1 abstention. The budget includes spending of $101.8 billion and projects GDP growth of 5% and an annual inflation rate of 10.1%. It is the first time the president has got a budget through Congress. The government has been working under a modified version of 2023 budget since taking office. It did not file a bill for 2024 and Congress did not debate the one it sent for 2025. It is the first time in history that the same budget has been used for 3 years in a row. Sports updates now. We'll start with cricket. In women's cricket, India beat Sri Lanka by 8 wickets in the third T20I to take an unassailable 3-0 lead in the 5-match series in Thiruvananthapuram on Friday. Put into bat, the visitors scored 112 for the loss of 7 wickets in 20 overs. For the hosts, Renuka Singh Thakur picked up a 4-wicket haul while Deepti Sharma bagged 3 wickets. In reply, India overhauled the target for the loss of 2 wickets in just 13.4 overs, riding on Shefali Verma's unbeaten 79 of 42 balls. Renuka Singh was declared player of the match. With this victory, the hosts have taken an unassailable 3-0 lead in the 5-match series. And star Indian batters Virat Kohli and Rishabh Pant led Delhi to a 7-run win over Gujarat in a tense clash in their Elite Group D match of Vijay Hazare Trophy at BCCI Centre of Excellence in Bengaluru on Friday. Kohli showed no signs of easing off the pedal as he continued his staggering form with another fine outing, scoring 77 runs of 61 balls laced with 13 fours and a 6. Rishabh Pant also struck 50 to help Delhi to a modest 254 runs for 9 in 50 overs. Despite looking solid in pockets, Gujarat batters pressed the self-destruction button as Delhi eked out a tight 7-run win. All right, football now. The sons of former Liverpool and Wolverhampton Wanderers forward Diogo Jota will accompany the Muscats when the Portuguese two former sides meet at Anfield in Premier League on Saturday. Dennis and Duarte, two of Jota's 3 children, will join the matchday Muscats on the pitch before kick-off. Jota was killed in a car crash in Spain in July alongside his 25-year-old brother Andres Silva. The Portugal winger joined Liverpool in 2020 after 3 seasons with Wolves. Jota scored 65 goals in 182 appearances for Liverpool, helping them win the FA Cup and League Cup in 2022 and the Premier League title last season. The forward joined Wolves on an initial season-long loan deal from Atletico Madrid in 2017 and went on to score 44 goals in 131 appearances. In a bid to bring their campaign back on track, Chelsea faces a daunting task as they clash with in-form Aston Villa in a crucial game on Saturday. Villa have been in top form, having won their last 7 games to sit just 3 points behind Arsenal. They have beaten United and Arsenal at home already this season but lost to Liverpool. Meanwhile, Chelsea have struggled for consistency this season and are 10 points adrift of table leaders Arsenal. The Blues are currently 4th in the standings but could slip out of that position without a victory in this clash. Fortunately for Chelsea, midfielder Cole Palmer is finally ready to play a full match after months of injury struggles.
He's back, he's available for Saturday, him and also Liam Delap. I think he's ready for 90 minutes. Yeah, the progression for a player is, 45, 1 hour, 70. He already played 1 hour against, I think, Everton. He played more than 70 against Newcastle. So I think the progression is there.
And finally, the countdown to New Year has begun in New York. 7-foot-tall numerals reading 2026 have been lit up at One Times Square. The illumination sets the stage for the world-famous countdown as Times Square gears up to welcome the new year. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.